senators, governors, women reps, and president. The Kenyan election last year had observers from all over the world because it was the only election that was going on at that time. And it was said to be the best election outside the US and the East Western countries, and the best in Africa for that matter. I want to ask you, when you are here, leave the local politics to people like us, the members of parliament, the Senate. Hiyo tutang'ang'ana naye. But I think in William Ruto, we have the best president. We cannot say wale walipita hawakuwa wazuri, walikuwa wazuri in their different ways. Try and do a lot of things. President ambaye anaamuka saa 11 na sisi wangapi? Hata mimi saa hizi naamka saa 11 sababu huwa nimefunga. Lazima niamke saa 10. But mtu ambaye anaamka saa 11 to run his country. And a lot of good things are happening. The other day, there was problem 100. So wale wana hold dollars, nyinyi muweke yenu upande hii sababu msipeleke huko. So the other thing is, vile ambassador amesema hapa, our economy is the 4th largest. We are only competing with Nigeria, South Africa. Na Ethiopia tunakuja karibu. So that means your mother will remain your mother. She will never change. And she will remain the best mother. And Kenya, for us, to remain the best country in the world. 1984. Wangapi walifika America 1984? 1984. 1984. Oh, Kimani? So, it means nilifika America mbele yenu wengi. Sababu nilikuwa America 1984. I was in Fort Bliss, Texas. I was a young military officer. So wakati hiyo, I had a family, ilikuwa inaitwa sponsor family. Some very old African American couple. Na wakaniambia, wewe, you are young. Why are you going to Kenya? Nikamwambia, it doesn't matter what you will give me. I feel very proud that I'm going to thank you for your time. We want to listen to you so that you tell us what are last week mumepata hiyo mobile service. Utatuambia mobile service ni nini mumeona. And finally, you know, we didn't employ you. Wakati munaambia Mburu Kangara MP ataka kuwashukuru, nataka kusema asanteni sana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I one, hakuna kurudia kitu mwingine ashasema. In agreement? All in favor say aye. Number two, point ikishapeanwa. Daktari Giruku, my brother.
Okay, I know I'm a teacher who is prepared all the time. We do skimming and I will follow you. Can the MPs try to check who are these students coming from their constituency, angalau wapatia kakitu kidogo wengine wa constituency zao. Number two, we are trying to help Kenyans. We here in Diaspora, by setting center, has already established that if you can get a certificate of theology, regardless, we have seen how the government is employing Kenyans locally. But when it comes to people from Diaspora, who I believe they are so learned, when they seek employment, are given jobs in the ministries. That is a point, and that's something that but when they seek job there, because they have gone school here, the preachers are the one who keep on saying lastly, in conclusion, in whatever. Me, I am straight. Yeah, I'm concluding, Pastor. We need the readership reconstruction. This book is diverse, from home to religion.
Terry, please come up. Anybody else with a question? Let me take 5 people at the front. Come, madam, at the back. You can come.
Asante, Bwana Ambassador. Shukrani kwangu, nitaongea kwa Kiswahili, though I haven't been to Kenya for a while, and lakini nashukuru kubwa wetu ambao wamekaribishwa hapa. Tunashukuru kwa niaba yenu, especially the Consul General, MPs, and each one of us ambao pastors, reverends ambao wako hapa. So tunashukuru. Mine is to ask about the Consul General ambao tumekuwa na ile occasion tumekuwa ya apply for passport. Naitwa David Buru kutoka Kenya, Kikuyu. Otherwise, my question was, because me, I was one of the people that really needed a renewal of the passport, only to know ile ya zamani kidogo siwezi nikasafiri nayo Kenya. And I booked twice. So the disappointment was, the services were good, they were there the first day. The second day I tried, I couldn't even to avail. So right now in the morning, I had to call the early consular. I talked to Roti, which will be easier than even here. So my question was, hatuwezi tumekuwa watu wengi hapa in Seattle, na Kimani anaweza sema hivyo, sababu I came here like, I was here in 2002 in Washington, na ile watu wamekuja hapa ni wengi zaidi, you're talking about 5 times, na hatujakuwa na hiyo shida. Otherwise I've applied like 4 times the passport through the DC office. Lakini sasa, Seattle imekuwa na watu wengi sana, ambapo kwa nini tu workforce? The problem they had was equipment kama cameras na workforce. They needed a big workforce. Because he was here and they worked tirelessly. Na si ati lazima wangefanya mpaka usiku in the morning, but they saw the people that were here, wakajitolea. So for you guys, it's for you to muwapatie pesa na workforce, watuletea hapa, especially in Seattle, tutakuwa na sub office, ama multiple times, because moja mbili tatu haziwezi. Even right now, they did only probably half or a quarter of what we have, the population we have here. And everybody tunataka ID, tunapataka passport. Tukushika ndege, tunaenda DC, tunaenda LA. So those services that are bringing here, the Consul General, zinasaidia hata ofisi yake, it deal with other parts. So mkubuke, kama ni Seattle, times, watu hapa sababu ni wengi, we can arrange here, tunafanyiwa zetu hapa. Kuliko all of us are going to DC or LA. So tunataka pesa na
Makueni. My MP is not in this committee, but I want to complain about that. We have had food insecurity issues, which is not something very unique to just Makueni alone. But looking at our natural resources that we have 2 rivers that cut through Ukambani, Earth River and Tana River. And yet, we have a serious food insecurity in that area. I have been brainstorming for years and even having conversations with people that is something we can really have changed. Like really change. In Makueni, I believe farming by relying on rainfall alone is not gonna cut it. Like many people have said it before, and probably it's not a new thing. I'm just saying it because I have the opportunity to just say it in this forum, and I appreciate for you guys coming around and giving attention so you can listen to us. So really, if there is a way we can address this at national level, build it into policy or, you know, finances somewhere or and, you know, do something about it, I think it's gonna help generations to come. And then the other thing, by experience which I saw before, is some of the natural resources which give excuse to, we had to one time import timber from Uganda because we could not get enough supplies for a construction project we're doing in Kisumu. And I know we don't have a lot of timber in Kenya, but just the way things were done, we have seen this in sugar, we've seen this in some of the limited things that we have to, like, for example, have to import. Maybe I can talk about oil too, I mean, petroleum, but I won't go into that. But my burning issue was food insecurity in Makueni, and I believe it can make a great opportunity for Kenya to go forward if we can secure that. God bless you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Njuguna. Now, I or we in diaspora feel neglected sometimes, or we feel sometimes like we are used. With our resources and ourselves to mobilize, and we did. But, and I apologize because I came late, I don't know if somebody had asked this. You know, even after this meeting, we have to eat and pay bills. When I had planned to go to Kenya to vote, there was a problem with the planes, but I flew to California to vote. Because so, we may not have a say, but when the appointments are taking place, please think wide. Let's say, for example, we have able minister, Mr. Alfred Mutua. He fits in the position, but I would say it would have been better if somebody was picked from here who knows the problems of aged. Maybe things are different. So our role is not just to remit money to Kenya, but let our role be something else. When it's coming to electing us, I don't know if I can be able to, I don't think I can use my money again to travel to California to vote. Maybe not, unless I'm convinced. But if somebody was picked from anywhere, not me, anybody, and we hear that somebody, assistant minister, chairman for this and that, was picked from diaspora, and you can get those people through the chairman. I'm here, when you're campaigning, you give us fake cards. You tell us when you come to Kenya, you call this number, and they are all fake. Starting when I was using my vehicle during Kibaki Tena, carrying, let me not mention him, all over, and I was given a card. When you come to Kenya, just call this. It was all useless. Not only that, even some people during this time, they came and gave us cards. You go to Kenya, you call that number, Nimteja. So please, do not hide your faces when you win or when you get what you wanted. Be our friends. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Eunice Ngare. I come from Membu County. Those who know Senator Mundigi, I come from the village of Senator Mundigi, Noega. Thank you so much for coming, and we really appreciate you for coming and listen to us. I have drove like one hour just to come and say a few points because I know that my voice counts. What brought me is, before I came here, because I'm like 1 year old, Mboma yangu, I applied for a house from Mboma yangu. But you know how difficult it is to operate Boma Yangu from this place because you use the SMS thing, you know. So I am made and make it effective that I can proceed with owning a home with Boma Yangu. I will really appreciate. The other thing I want to know is from the Ministry of Land, when we are here, like we want to buy something, there is something wrong in the ministry. I know you may not, that docket may not be under you right now, but you can hear my voice. It is so difficult to get things work at the Ministry of. Please, do something. We work in the system where things work. You don't have to know anybody here. You just apply online and things are done. Please, let's not get frustrated because just a few people in the Ministry of Lands want some kickbacks or something. We really want to move forward if you want us to invest in our country. Especially when we are buying property. When we want when we want to buy property, that the first thing, the Kanjo system has to work. Because we want paperwork to be done within the municipality, it is not working. We want things to be done in the Ministry of Land, especially airport survey, there's something wrong. Please help us to have the system work, as the president say, so that we are able to flow our things, you know, peacefully. Otherwise, you are welcome to Seattle. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have another lot of 5? Okay, lot of 5 can come to the front while I make my comment. Ladies and gentlemen and members of the diaspora, and to the gentleman who asked a question about this, what will solve most of our problems in our country and what is making yours work is systems and automation of systems, not setting up of more offices. If they had 20 offices to do your things, you'd never have moved. But because they have a system and automated system, that is why it is working for you. So I want to propose a thought that maybe you don't even need a consulate. What you need is a working system. And I want to tell you that the president made a commitment that by the end of this year, all government services will be digitized. That accept cash payments. Immediately, that cuts off corruption. Number 2, what we may need to cut off is human contact, hiyo kujuana. Because system ikikata, haujui nani amekata, ni system imekata. And ule anakata, haezi jua ni wewe, so haezi kata. I want to tell you that the government is at a very advanced stage here in the Americas, trying to find a solution for biometrics. And in the few coming months, you will not have to come to LA or DC. Utakuwa unaenda hapa post office, unaeka mikono, unaingia e-citizen, una-apply, inatumwa, unatumiwa passport yako. So far, the president announced a few weeks ago that over 5,000 services are now available online on the government portal. What I'd want to advise and encourage those systems so that we do not encourage human contact. But point taken, it is true what you have said about when we came and what we are learning on the way, and that's why we do that thing. And for that issue of appointment, I'm sorry, Nione Kando, I'll make sure at your earliest opportunity, we give you an opportunity to come. Aya.
Kaluki from Machakos County, but mi ni Mkenya, mi nilikuwa nataka na tuna soko huku, kuna soko ya Wakenya, tena nyingi zingine ni za Woria. Hile tungetaka MPs, tafadhali, mwende muone. Mimi niko pale chini, they are those who make the authority. Alafu ngenezo mtaona vile chakula ya Kenya itakula. Joints wa Kenya you will find those people. And say, Agatha said that.
So the rest of us, one is 1 minute, please.
Okay, question. Yes.
Said you, and I think it was for us to ask questions,
Yes.
not to make a speech.
Yeah.
So if you could limit yourself to 1 or 2 questions, because when you give a whole profile, maybe you be here until 5 or 6,
true, yeah.
and which will not be able to make it productive time. So I would ask you kindly, ask the question. Just as 1, 2 sentences, and that will be enough.
Thank you, Pastor, for guidance. My name is Bishop Alex. First, I just want to honor the doctor who talked about being a minister. Natetea Mkamba wetu kwa sababu mimi ni Mkamba na anaitwa kama mimi. Dr. Mutua was here. He schooled here in Spokane. So he's one of us. We have another, it's on social media, that 2 Kenyans from Kisii, they were killed in the house. The perception is we have money and the security of us is at stake. I just wanted to ask if what can be done to make sure that we are secure when we are.
I'm a nurse by profession and also an entrepreneur. And as an employer, the biggest challenge that we are facing is not being able to qualify them to be able to come here to America. So there's only 2 centers, I think, in Africa that offer that. That's Rwanda and South Africa. So they have to spend money and go there. It makes it so.
Chief from Kenya, I retired in 2005. And I found an opportunity in America. Point is, I was only coming here to ask a question. In Kenya, get us together. I sent money to my brother, he consumed all of it. I sent my...
Needs to be checked. Huko kumejaa wakora. Na sometimes if we donate some things in Kenya, tunasumbuliwa sana for the thing, tunasumbuliwa sana for the things to be stamped and to be approved.
Siasa hapa, lakini nasema hivi kwa sababu tuna wanasiasa. Kule kwetu vile tunaona saa hii mambo hivi ilivyo. Sisi all of us here, even in diaspora. There is a lot of chest thumping from the opposition, a lot of chest thumping from the seat for the good of the nation. Let them have clean hands.
Ensuring that we have a good system, a good electoral system, not the IBC, but a proper system that will help us be able to identify. Do we have a system of ensuring that the people who are elected have good track records? Because they can have cases. This government that is there already is not very genuine about fighting corruption, because the previous government said that they were losing 2 billion Kenya shillings every day. And this government continues to lose.
I intend to stay here. I love my country. But come next to me. I know you thought I was going to kick you out. Are there any other people who would like to ask questions? We can even take 10. I don't know. We don't have. Any other person? Okay. I'll even open up for round 2. Tony, you want to talk? Okay. So let's listen to these ones. Guys, the rule is 1 minute, tafadhali. Tafadhali, I beg you.
So, kwa jina ni Masharia Wagura. So, swali yangu ni kidogo. Not kidogo, but it counts. Mazee nilichukua PIN number and the KRA has been hitting me with those emails. So, swali yangu ni between the huduma number, the PIN, the KRA and me paying taxes. Sijui kaa pengine ni mimi niko na shida na kulipa taxes za Kenya. But that is my problem. Maybe some explanation, or at least tell us what you are doing with huduma numbers, the PINs and all that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Yangu nitakuelekezea mheshimiwa uliosema it's good to take our children back home and to encourage them. My only, not a very big problem is that when we travel with our American kids, na saa ingine hawajapewa documentation, when we get to the border, kwanza tunaambiwa tuwalipie visa. They feel demoralized. I have a friend who the child said she's not going to go back to Kenya because the mother and the other children were not charged. The same child akatoka hapo wakaanza tour in Kenya, wakapelekwa orphanage, the child was sidelined. So she has got all the reasons, this child has got all the reasons not to go back to Kenya. But I'm working hard to raise this child and explaining that these are our roots, this is where we come from. Why don't we have a system whereby when I'm traveling as a parent, I can organize and pay for these things before I get to the border? If I have to pay, it is fine, but don't do this in front of our kids. If we can get that, that will really encourage the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll just go off air for 1 minute. My dear, if you visit e-visa, yes, but e-visa is available for us to get any visa online. And I want to encourage those of you on this side of the States, please, before you travel, make sure your passport is up to date, make sure your visas are in line, and any groups going to Kenya, any groups, get in touch with the consulate so we can support you with your people who are going there to do a good job. We can even connect you with the security system and even the reception that they need at the entry. Do you know there's something called a gratis visa for people who do NGO work? All right, now you know. All right?
My name is Anthony from Kericho, Kenya. I'm happy that you have come to visit us here. And you have put so much importance on Kenyans in diaspora, and you've stated how much they contribute to the Kenyan economy in terms of remittance. Now my question is, in Kenya in terms of like housing, you have slum upgrading, you have affordable housing. How about a section for diaspora? Because these are very important people to you. When it comes to other sectors like tenders or whatever it is, you have women, you have youth, and nowhere does Kenyans in diaspora feature. People want to make investments in Kenya, but because there is no vehicle that people can invest in, then most people miss out on so much in the country. The government is even borrowing like Eurobond and all that. Why not borrow from diaspora and have a diaspora bond, you know? Like, people are not making use. You are very, you are showing us that you care so much about the people in diaspora. But nowhere do they feature in any of the investments or opportunities that feature in Kenya. What can happen so that you can be incorporated in all that?
I like what he said, because actually I read somewhere that India, they used the Indians in the diaspora to do an infrastructure bond. And they were able to do that. So I like that idea. My name is Mboro Kamau. I wanted to request whether, Barozi, you guys can extend the services of getting a driving license. Because when you go to Kenya, and I've been a victim a few times, I don't have a Kenyan driving license. But I've been driving in America for many years. But when I go to Kenya and started to inquire about getting a driving license, I was told I have to go back to school. Even though I have an American driving license, I've been driving for several decades here, I still have to suffer when I get caught by the police. I remember one instance, I was driving in my car, the light was out and I didn't know. So the police stopped me in the middle of the night. They stopped me around 9. And when they asked me for the driving license, I gave them my American driving license. Boy, did I get harassed. I was taken to Kasarani's, do you what? And they released me like 4 a.m. You know, they were just taking me cycles. So please, can you guys help us get a driving license? I don't have to suffer when I go to Kenya, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Dave. I'm Kenyan. And I want to ask my question. The first one is maybe not about the diaspora, but very much about the MPs and the work they do. And one of the problems we are having is, I have heard the ambassador say that Kenya is not burning, and we don't want Kenya to burn. And the only way of making Kenya not to burn is making systems work for each one of us. So one thing is when the systems work and the government departments work properly. The first one I want to address is that one of PSC, that is Public Service Commission. We have had people applying for jobs, and when we go to look at the shortlisting, like the one which was done for the CAS, over 452 Kenyans were shortlisted for that. And at the end of the interviews, we had professors and other qualified Kenyans being shortlisted, but we ended up with CAS, those who were able to pass were all former politicians. I don't understand how somebody who has never worked for government could be shortlisted, and those who had worked for 30 years, they are dropped out. So it means PSC has had what our government has always, our politicians have been talking about, state capture. It has already been captured because that is why they are not able to give us the qualified people. The next one is about the cost of our leadership. I had our economist, the advisor to the president, Mr. D, talking about if we want a good government, we need people who are, it is very hard, I mean, it is costly. But I tend to disagree with him because we're having so much, as our former chief who was talking here said. We have, the government is bloated, it's too big, and now we are going to a period where there will be the delimitation of boundaries with the IEBC. We are coming to a period where we will have people going to Robbie to have their areas created, new areas created, so the cost of government will be too big. So can we look at these things? As he said, let us limit the number of readers that we have, because we keep on talking about the wage bill in our country. Right now, we are talking about all those people who are there. How do we manage that? And unless Kenya will keep on borrowing, unless we start doing things differently. We are blaming the former government, the one which was there previously, and we are not doing anything. We are still adding more and more, and we have so many advisors in the ministries, so something must be done. And then some of our projects are rope-sided, because I don't understand why all of a sudden the issue of affordable housing, even in small towns like Kiambu, you find they are talking about constructing thousands of houses. Who is going to occupy those houses? The young generation that we are having now are not going to the mortgage. They are buying 40 by 80 and constructing their own houses, one room after the other. So we should not keep on thinking about things which are going to add more cost to the government. So the MPs should look at that. And then we want a leadership which is sincere. I'm not supporting any side. But when you are going to negotiate with a person and then you pick on a person, like we have an MP who defected to the other side, and now he is made to come here, and he has defected from your side, and he is made one of the representatives. Are we sincere? Is that the way we are going? That is the way the country burns. There is no other way. Let us, our MPs who are here, please be our ambassadors. Be sincere. Don't talk because you belong to UDA. speak honestly so that you'll be there for posterity. Somebody will quote you that you were able to study during those times. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
My name is Michael. I have no political question. I know. My questions are like only two. One is about the students who are applying for visas to study in the US. Is there a link, interlink between the, what do you call them, the diaspora committee, the committees, that they are able to vet in terms of like, the whole of last year I had like a list of like 20 people who went, applied for schools here, and the only response they got to the embassy is, sorry, try next time. So that kid is left to wonder, what is it next time am I trying? Is there a way you can be able to, a ministry can, like, whoever is coming to apply for visa as a student, they have been certified by a body, something, so that the embassy know that this person is genuine. American embassy, I'm talking about the American embassy. I don't know, because you all get that they are being told, try next time, and there's no interlink between the two. Is there in a way you can be able to work on students who are applying for visa? The second question is about investment, opening of bank accounts. For example, personally, I had to open an account, and I was told it's a diaspora account, and they have to send a physical document from Kenya, so that I can be able to sign, so that I can be able to do an to online. Currently, there's something called DocuSign, the system that they can be able to post it on my email, and I can be able to sign and adopt that signature, and the bank can be able to approve my documentation. But for me to send, I have to wait for somebody I know to send the document, then I have to sign and send them back for them to go through the process of opening an account. And that took a whole load of process. Is there any way, as the new government in power says they are getting to IT in 1 year or something, to be able to ease, they call the ease of doing business for people here? Thank you.
It's your church. If we don't allow you, we'll chase us. So.
Thank you very much. I think I will address myself to the points the chairman gave us. How was the exercise that was done here? I would say it was successful and people have commented on it, and how could it be done differently? And somebody has talked about easing and bringing more equipment so that they can ease the flow or the provision of the services. So, and the ambassador, you are saying these things could be done by December digital, but we left a bulk of people, almost like 400 who were never attended. Could there be a possibility of you coming back again maybe in July or August before this thing is fully digitalized, so that we can be able to serve the others who have remained? If the issue of an office is not feasible because of the cost and the way the digital issues is coming up, then why would you have like what we are calling Kimani the president of this area? Why couldn't we have maybe an honorary consular who will be carrying out works and limiting issues, and having an office, even if it's voluntary somehow? One is qualified. We have upcoming lawyers and people who are equipped in one with the other to deal with some of these challenges. Even if he can be given 1 or 2 dollars for his services, I think it's something of worthy. How could that thing be done differently? Then we would appreciate this thing maybe having 1 or 2 days, so that at least everybody, we are trying very much to cater for all who have come. and especially when we are digitalized. Even if you bring it here in person like you did, we can also digitize it so that we can honor the appointments that were made, because we experience crashings here and there. We would also like to participate in voting in the election issues. And elections here are so peaceful, they are so smooth, that even they send ballot papers through the poster, and you vote from your own house, and then you post it wherever the designated points where it's required. And so one votes, take it, and come back home, continue with this work. Although there is 4 more days of voting as the system is. But in the evening, we know who the president is. By evening, when we are voting from morning, more than Trump got 75 million, and Biden got 86 million. So quick calculation, that was around 161 million votes counted in one day. In Kenya, around 14 million are counted in a week. So, and until things are happening, I think our mathematics need to be brought into order, so that these kind of tensions, because there is tension. I feel for my relatives when I hear there's a riot in Nairobi, even if that's different areas are the case, but even one life lost is too many, is too much because of electoral issues. So is there a way we can stimulate this, and especially in diaspora, you borrow from the American system, whereby you can send us votes. And there's designated in a way we can even vote from home, and then we send through the embassy. Or if that's not the case, then bring it, give us a center here in Seattle that we can also vote as diasporan Kenyans, so that we can also make our voice heard in our republic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think okay, we have more people. You already spoke. So let me take the other ones. Kuna wengine wameingia. Chief. You know that's our chifu. Chifu, tukimwacha akisiongea. Come, madam, just come to the front. Let me take the first ones. It is 4:41. And we also, chairman has to go prepare to break his fast, amongst other things. We also have another program which we needed to come to. So if these guys come to the front, ask one question, please. Tafadhali. Mtumishi wa Mungu, wenda wa kwanza.
Thank you so much. My name is Reverend Mercy Macharia. My question, I'm focusing on one or two things. I'm focusing on the widows of the foreign soldiers. So much has been talked about here. I love my country. I invest there. That's why I'll go back in a couple of years. My focus is on the wives of the fallen soldiers who have died in the course of duty. It is taking forever for them to get the benefits of their husbands. And they're walking in the corridors, shedding tears and tears and tears, knocking one door after the other, yet they died in the course of service. We would request a kind eye to focus on that, so that they get their benefit without adding a lot of pain on top of the pain that was there when they lost their husbands in the course of duty. That one is over. The other point is a focus on our youth. We realize all what is happening in our country. You know, I happen to have been a board member of a couple of secondary schools when I was actually in Kenya, one of them being St. Joseph High School, Nyaru High School, and the rest, Kagwe Girls. And you realize there's a lot of things that are happening, immoral things happening at the primary school, secondary school, all the way to universities, all the way to the colleges, and our youth are going down, down, down every other day. I'm only concerned who in the leadership, because you have talked about so much about trading and what have you, who is focusing? Is there a docket in the government that is going there getting concerned about what is actually happening in secondary school, you have got some few mentors, young people who are coming out to save our youth, which is the docket, even at the parliamentary level, that are being set aside to deal with that particular area, because we are working very hard, but who are we passing the baton to? Who are the mantle holders? Who are we saving so much for? And they say, if you don't empower the youth, we don't empower your children, there is no future tomorrow. We would like our government to focus on our youth and set a docket that is focusing to deal categorically with the issues on the grassroots. That one is over. About the cooperative sector, I happen to come to be a cooperator by Brad, being one of the persons there in amendment of the policies in the government. I would like to encourage, there are so many circles which actually some of them are dwindling, they are waving right, left, and center. I would like to know what is the government doing to encourage inter-cooperative, inter-circle borrowing so that they don't go out to borrow out there and leading to our mega income earners at the grassroots as an unaffordable level. What is being done to ensure that that one is done, and more so to make sure that the circles don't go down. And the last one is about business. Some of our children who never got the opportunity in the white-collar job despite the so many accumulated certificates, degrees, and the rest, are that are lotting at home. Some of our children, we have supported them to go in the black-collar jobs, which is the business. But right now, we have got so many foreigners, more so to mention the Chinese, who have brought a lot of business in our country, so that they are the ones who are importing and bringing items, meaning the people who used to import now from China and wherever, they are not able to import the spare parts and what have you. And around Thika Road, there is a big mall that I heard that is selling everything, meaning our people can no longer import and sell at a profit. Everybody now is rushing to Thika Road to go and buy from there, making the Kambukuji people and the like to go down. What is the government doing about that? Thank you very much.
Hamjambo? Mahali gani? Mwambaje? Semeni mwamba salama. Kwa majina yangu najulikana kama Gary Wenaina, ama wengi wananijua kwa jina la Mkenya Marekani. Na by the way, we are live here. We are broadcasting this all interview on Kenya Marekani YouTube. Langu la kwanza ni kwa kushukuru kwa sababu ya kutukumbuka, and it's not a favor. People of Seattle don't call this a favor. Yeah, we have a right to be visited by the government of Kenya, okay? Because lazima tukue na nguvu, because when you come to seek votes, we only important then. But with sawa, jambo la kwanza ningependa kusema ni kwamba let's remember people from diaspora with things like state recommendation, because there are great people, Kenyans here in diaspora, who are doing great things, and they are not remembered by the government. Would like for example, Mr. Kimani to have a HSC in front of his name. Number two, young people in America and Kenya are realizing other ways of creating employment. For example, content creators. Since we cannot get Maina Kageni out of radio, since I grew up, I still listen to him, and no pun intended. The government has not been very supportive with things like sports, things like content creators. Just yesterday, a girl by the name Trudy, who is a very big YouTuber, was being harassed at the airport. Na waheshimiwa mnaweza kubaliana na mimi, we interviewed you guys at the airport, hatukuulizwa swali lolote. So let's give our young people a platform and let's support them. And not just in content creation. Hata wakati wanatafuta wachezaji wa mpira, we have young players, football players, a great team like Umoja, which is a very great team here. Nataka kuhakikishiwa ya kwamba the time they will be coming to fetch for young talents, let's also try and come to places like America, Canada, so that we be inclusive. The other thing is budget allocation. Mheshimiwa Big Ted, you and I know that we were in events in Kenya. And if this event was in Kenya, the budget that would have been placed to just do this event would be in millions to just do this event. But mkikuja diaspora, sasa ile mmetuomba pesa ya campaign, tukikuja hapa hivi unasema ni kusaidia serikali. Hao watu wote hapa hivi wameomba masaa ili wakuje hapa hivi. So it's good, and especially like photographer like Tony, for instance, he is doing his expertise in photography. Ingekuwa ni amefanya masaa yake, amepata kazi. So let's not, we are also Kenyans, let's also allocate a budget for such events so that we can build young people like and creatives who are doing things in this country, and they are helping our government as well. My other challenge is to waheshimiwa. Tumekuwa hapa na nyinyi na bado unajua mko na culture shock ya America. Wengine hawajakanyaga hapa, bado mnastuka. So when I was doing driving, I was only told that the only cars that are to be respected ni a police car when on siren, an ambulance when on siren, and a fire truck when on siren. But waheshimiwa wetu, they overuse that power and put siren anytime. Wakienda hata kama ni kwa kanisa, hata shughuli zao wanaweka siren na gari 5, 10 zinawafuata. Let me tell you, I've never seen the governor of this country, of this Washington. I've never seen, and they always do their business, but they are not a big thing. We only respect ambulance on siren, a fire brigade on siren, not when it's not on siren. So I would like us to cut down, and as we do this, also cut down, so that we can help our people. Because I would like to concur with Eric Omondi, who said there are new cars being bought for CS, while women in Pumwani cannot even afford 2,000 to give birth. It's not logical. So let's think about that. And last but not least, we've talked about security, and number one thing that security needs to be aligned is, I'm giving you a homework. Don't answer me today. When you get to Kenya, pick your phone and call 911. No, 999. In Kenya is 999. Tell me if it will ring. Yeah. Tell me if it will ring. That's how we'll sort out security issues. God bless you.
Hi, my name is Jerry Kimani, or Jerry Wamai, and I come from Githunguri. My question is, I want to ask about what is our government doing for us? Because sometimes we have so much money, we don't know where to take the money. We want somewhere where we can lend our government the money, so that even us, instead of going to borrow China, you should borrow from us, because I believe and trust in God that whatever we do, we have money. When you look at us, we have money, we can lend our country. Do something about us.
Wow. Yeah, my name is Pauline Kamanja, and thank you. I appreciate the fact that you're here to listen to us. I respect all the pastors and everyone that is here. Thank you, Ambassador. We've really been looking for these services. I've been sitting down there, and I come from the world of non-profit, non-governmental organization. And I appreciate that coming from it in a place where we've been several times, in a place where women are really, really suffering. And I don't know what the government have talked. I've been to those places, there are elders, there are measures that the government has put in place to make sure that women doesn't go through the things, the worst traditional practices ever in the country. They happen in Marsabit, in those areas. But there are cartels, whereby when you enter in those places and you're trying to help, you're hindered. Women, I don't know also what you do about those women in Marsabit, and even in central province, everywhere else, it has come to be a rapid thing, a hard thing. But I'm also talking to you because you're coming to the hardest area where it is the worst. Women when girls get pregnant and they get children, they are cast out and they are put away in a place where they have no food, nobody to take care of them. But they still continue having babies and nobody takes care of them. What does the government do, especially because of the cartels that cannot allow even the non-governmental organizations that will try to help those people to get in and help women continue suffering? And I'm also talking to even to our central province. I can only talk about the central province, the areas that have been. This is a big problem for women. I haven't heard anyone talk about women, and especially also, you know, their children. There are women who cannot afford a meal for a day, yet they have children because they still get children. And I've seen when working towards breaking the street cycle, because that's what I work around, I try to do, and it is those children, those little babies with the mothers that are in the street. Who does think about them? Who help them? Those children are born and they are raised and they cannot go to school, even when the schools are free, and the mothers have no even like 3,000 Kenya shillings to enter into a primary school. We are forced sometimes to ask, who want to go to school, who want to go to school? It's only 3,000. But believe it or not, 3,000 is a lot of money when you give to 10 children and mothers who doesn't have food. What is the government doing about those things? I have only one more question about the non-profit. Sometimes you go into Kenya, you are carrying something like a camera, or you are carrying something for the children, and you cannot be allowed to pass through the airport. They want to charge you 3 times more than what you have bought. Or you are taking something, you are helping the children. Is there a way for non-profit to be helped when they get in the country, either even assisted in registration, or when you have something to show that this is a non-profit, that you can be helped? Because you go to the airport, they say you should have applied that you're coming with a camera before you get here.
Yes, habari zenu. Kwanza nitachukua hii fursa kukaribisha Seattle na niseme langu si swali. Yangu ni advice. Karibu sana Big Ted. Kenya Prison Enterprises wako na human resource kubwa sana, na we end up spending all our money. As you have said, we have a lot of money, but we are spending all our money on made in China. So we are advising that the Kenya Prison Enterprises open an online store, maybe on Amazon, so that we can be able to buy our own. And then also, right now, Mheshimiwa amesema na Marsabit na Kenya Mint Commission saizi ina produce at 100%, right? So we also want Kenya Mint Commission to be able to ship some of the items they are making here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Balozi. Greetings, habari zenu kila mtu. Our waheshimiwa, good afternoon. My name is Tony Shira. Those who know me around here call me Antoism. I'm a photographer and video creator. Just launched TCTV 1 USA last night, so you'll be seeing a lot of what is happening here. So kindly tune in. It's on YouTube. Now, I come from Embu County, and my member of Parliament is here. Asante. So I have 3 issues that I have for our Heshimiwas. I know this is a meeting where we are telling you how we live and what concerns us. And my first point is that I go through my background. In Kenya, I practiced as a concept, talent, and image consultant. Something that I haven't done since I came to the US. I created a lot of events. I'm sure you all know about Miss Tourism Kenya. I was the production director for that. And we went around the country trying to look for what Kenya is that we could give to these girls so that when they go out there, they can speak about the Kenya that we know, the Kenya that we want. Because image is everything. Now, some of those very, very important issues or events have been cheapened to a point that nobody seems to pay attention. Yet we've also had situations where some of those girls go out there representing the country, carrying the Kenyan flag. Then when they mess, that is when you hear people start responding. I want to request our members of parliament, and I want to base this on what chairman of the delegation said yesterday. Kenya has a lot of money. So we can have a budget that supports one, talent, sports, and all these activities that bring Kenyans out of our country to the world so that we can send out that message of the Kenya that we want. So I'm asking you, because you're the ones that make the allocations, create a budget that supports talent and the construction of an image of Kenya that the world can relate with. Now, towards the same, I think we might have lost notice of what made one of the greatest successes of the Kibaki government, the late, God rest his soul in eternal peace. It was about image. Someone was appointed in that time to actually speak about Kenya. That was Dr. Mutua. He was the government spokesman whose work was simply to speak about the image of Kenya, creating that image. Why am I talking about this? I am talking about this because out here, those of us who are out here in diaspora, we consume what we see. We don't have anybody that tells us what is going on. We only pick what is in the social media because that's where we can access. And what is in the social media? I'm a content creator, I can tell you that. I have a channel on YouTube, it's called The Tonishin Show. Nobody regulates what I say. I put what I want, and you can't stop me. So, to those who follow me, they consume what I give. And I can tell you, I did communication and PR, and in it there was journalism. And in there you learned that it is news when a man bites a dog, and it is not news when a dog bites a man. So some of our headlines and the way we approach our stories is to create controversy. And I will tell you, for example, the 10-minute of your arrival yesterday, the one that has elicited feelings from the community is that I said, Kenya has a lot of money. MPs declare upon arrival in Seattle. Why is that? Because already at home, people are said not to have been paid. Civil servants have not been paid. There's no money, the economy is bad. So when I put that statement, now I'm eliciting feelings. What am I trying to say? We need you to allocate a budget so that we can have an office that will be the consulate, so that those of us in the diaspora can be able to get the right information that we need to send out. I will announce here that I was appointed recently the president of Pacific Northwest Kenyan Media Consortium, and we are all geared towards sending the right information. I would like you to help us by giving the right information that we can be able to broadcast to our people, so that even those of us in the diaspora can have the right image of our country and the confidence to even work for our country. Lastly, people are doing that. Let me do it once. Lastly, we have our chairman, Mr. Kimani, very, very fatherly for me. He took me in when I came in, and our secretary, Lucy, here. I also work for Northwest Kenyan Community. And one of the things that we've tried to do is to get our Kenyans to register to join the organization, so that when we have disasters and situations, like the emergencies, people fall sick, people get, sickness is not a big deal because here you get treated. But when someone passes away and the body has to be taken home, now there's a slight problem in there that comes in. Those who are not members of the organization do not quite get to benefit. But there are some situations, and as I commend the government because of the girl who was in the Middle East that was back home, We've had situations here in Kenya that bodies stay in morgues for quite a while because maybe the family cannot afford. We would like you as a government to also put a small budget for benevolence for situations that require that kind of support. Kenya iko na pesa mingi. Head of delegation said so. Thank you very much for listening to me. I really thank you, and welcome to Seattle once more, and let's do this many more times. Asante.
Wacha sasa nifunge. Hata sitaka balozi. Mimi nataka ku-address issue ya pombe. Pombe imejaa sana kule kwa streets Kenya, kwa vijiji, kila mahali kwa kona, na hawa boy child wameangamia sana. Sasa tutasaidiana vipi serikali na sisi ambao tuko hapa? Tunaweza tukasaidiana vipi ili tusaidie hawa vijana na wazee ambao wako most affected? Alafu hii kitu imekuwa extended mpaka kwa girl child. So it is something that inataka kuangamizwa na sisi wote, lakini kwa sababu nyinyi ndio wakuu, mtueleze tunawezaje tukasaidiana? Ni maombi, ni kufast, ama ni action? Action. Mheshimiwa amesema ni action. Kwa hivyo mtuhusishe, mtuambie ni nini tutafanya, hata kama tutaanza village by village, door to door ministry. Tunavaa t-shirt, to include chief, tuna include elders, kwa sababu elder akiwa pale ambaye tunafanya kazi na yeye ya ku stop hiyo pombe, alafu na chief ako involved, na I can assure you hiyo kitu itakuwa imeisha. Tutamaliza hiyo kitu, alafu sasa tukue na nchi ambayo iko na, kwa sababu Kenya yetu iko na very very brilliant minds. Lakini ukiona hiyo kitu, ama kama ni watu ni kwa sababu hawana kazi, si lazima kazi kwanza ikue, lakini ni nini tutafanya ili tuwapatie kitu ya kufanya, waache kwenda kule kwa kijiji, kwa kambe, kukaa hapo na kukunywa pombe. Alafu Northwest Kenyan Community, chairman anasemaga, hakuna mtu tunaacha nyuma. Kwa hivyo, hata kama wewe umehappen to register ama kwa nini, bado tunasaidia. Tuko na watu wengi sana, hata wa out of state ambao wanatuita, na simu ya chairman anapigia 24 hours, kwa hivyo it is allowed. Utampata anytime, kama uko jela, kama uko kila mahali kwa shida, but ni vizuri sana kushirikiana na watu. Usikuje tu kwa sababu uko na shida, kwa sababu ati Northwest Kenyan Community itakusaidia. Ukikuja kusaidia, in fact, kusaidia ni vizuri kuliko kusaidiwa. Kwa hivyo Northwest Kenyan Community inafanya kazi ya kusaidia kila mtu wa kila rangi. Hatujali wewe umetoka Central ama umetoka Eastern. Sisi wote kama Northwest Kenyan Community tumejua siri ya mali ya akili. Ati ni kupenda mwenzako. Ukipenda neighbor, akili yako itakuwa salama, you will have peace, na kila kitu yote unafanya Mungu anakubariki. Kwa hayo machache, nashukuru sana kwa sababu ya maswali, na pia tuko na wazito hapa watajibu, na yale ambao hawataweza kujibu sasa tunajua tutapata suluhisho, kwa sababu kama hauko kwa meza, uko kwenye menu, if you're not on the table, you're not at the table, trust me, you will be in the menu. Kwa hivyo Wakenya wenzangu, tujifundishe kukaa kwenye meza kwa decision inamikiwa. Hapa hii ni meza ambayo decisions zinamikiwa. Kwa hivyo zile maneno ambazo tutawapatia, they will be able to help us implement. Asante sana balozi.
Asante sana. I think we've done well. Shifu ulikuwa ushauliza swali. Kwa hivyo nitaomba ya kwamba tuiwachie hapo. Vitu tatu, saa zile ulianza kuongea mambo ya kinywaji, nilishangaa unasema tupewe ama watu walikuwa wanakufurahi, lakini sasa vile uliingia tena watu nikaona sura zao zimechange. Three things. Number one, it is my request to Kenyans traveling here, either not-for-profit or organized groups. please get in touch with the consulate. Write to us. Tell us, I'm traveling to Kenya. I have a lot of emails right now. I have a group going to Kenya next week, 24 people. I have a group of billionaires going in June, 22 of them, pretty high profile. And all these people have come to the consulate, and we have a letter, we have their names, we know what they're doing, we know where they are going. It's easy for us to protect you if we know what you're doing. To those NGOs especially who take things to Kenya, don't show up with them at the airport. The law is very clear on what you should be able to do. The government is interested in helping you help our people. So please, we want to help you. Usikuje hapo na umeleta kompyuta ya 1970 kama msaada. Hiyo iliisha. Ama mashini ya hospitali ambayo iliacha kutumwa. Sasa tupeleke kwetu alafu sisi tutajenga aje na tujui kujenga na jamaa alijenga hiyo alikufa. So angalia, look at that thing, obsolete equipment. And then look at is the dignity of Kenyans. Usilete vitu ambazo ni kama zitaleta our esteem as Kenyans to go down. Sisi tunasema hivi, tunapenda msaada, lakini tupatie ile pia nyinyi mnatumia. Kama ni mashine ya hospitali tupatie ile nyinyi mko nayo, hiyo ni donation. Anything, hii mliacha kutumia mkatupa, tafadhali hiyo si donation tafadhali. All right? Let's be careful of how the story we say about Kenya. All right? Number 2, the law is very clear about what you can do, where, how, and what. The law applies everywhere. Before you came to the airport, ask Tony, I asked him, tukipiga picha hapa, inaruhusiwa? I asked him. And we had to find out if it's allowed. Cap 204 in the Constitution of Kenya, which you have a right to take part into making, talks about protected areas. Na tafadhali, mtu hawezi enda na kamera tu, umeanza kupiga picha, na sheria inasema huwezi. Mimi nilikuwa White House, I know what the rules are. Hata hapa nikienda kwenye airport, waniambie kaa kando, hata kama mimi ni balozi, na kaa kando na nyekea, kwa sababu ni sheria. Kwa hivyo tafadhali, hata content creators, there's a law, there's a rule. The government is interested in promoting us, and that's why I was sent here. Finally, there is something called Talanta Hela. Serikali imetengeneza katika Ministry of Sports and Arts a system called Talanta Hela. And it's been launched by the president, and you'll hear about it a lot. It is a portal like YouTube, where the government wants young people to go in, and then we can be able to get them something out of that portal. Content creators, sportsmen, actors, everybody. And I work in California, in Los Angeles. We're engaging even with Hollywood. Na tunaambia Hollywood, nyinyi muliona Wakanda. Sasa kujeni kule Wakanda waishi. Muone vitu tutaonesha Kenya. We haven't told our stories. Hatujatoa story ya Wangu wa Makeri. Umeona hiyo sinema? Hakuna. Lwanda Magere, sio Kimau, Meketili. Hizo ni sinema. So we can do this thing as Kenyans. We can tell our stories. But wewe ukiendelea kusema story yao, the first person to cover this river alikuwa nani? Na sisi tulikuwa tunaishi hapo, kwani hatukujua hiyo river? Hiyo roho yetu tunajua ilikuwa nini? We know the name of that river. So let's tell our stories. Content creators create stories that exemplify that country. I live in one of the cities in this town. They don't show us on YouTube what I've seen. I never show that side. So you don't go to show suruari metaruka ya mama yako ndio upate hits. That is wrong. But as we said before, until the lion learns to write, all the stories will glorify the hunter. But unajua mimi nalipo kuongea, Mheshimiwa Chairman, kuja umalize mkutano. It's about 30-40 minutes for you to open your fast.
Wakenya mpo? Yeah. Ya kwanza asanteni sana kwa maswali. Sijui nianzie wapi. Nianze kwa ile ngumu ama yale ambaye naona ni rahisi. As I choose. First of all, thank you for the questions that you have raised. We will not discount any of the questions you have raised. You raised very important and pertinent issues and issues of concern. I'm sure you on your Google, you can get the Kenyan Constitution. Kenyan Constitution, read Article 10, read Article 95, and Article 96. When you read those three, then you will know why you are here and what members of parliament, whether they are National Assembly or the Senate, are supposed to do. You have a constitutional duty as a citizen, and we also have constitutional duty for the reasons why we hold these offices. I want to start with Lucy. I'll try to just lump some of these questions because they will tend to overlap. Last Friday, the Deputy President was in Nyeri, particularly on the issue of alcohol. That has destroyed a great percentage of our youth, and also to an extent, the men, because people don't go to their homes, the youth don't work. So it's as if almost a generation is going to be destroyed by availability of cheap alcohol. So the Deputy President sat with, in the police force, from the OCS all the way to the fellows who are commanding counties. And then from the sub-chief all the way to the county commissioners to seriously address that issue. And they started in Nyeri, yes, with all members of parliament and Senate and MCS, so that they make it not just an issue of leadership, but a national conversation. So they have done that in Nyeri. I think they will go to Nakuru. From there, they are going to go to Mombasa. From Mombasa, they will go to Embu, Embu to Meru. First, they deal with Central Kenya. So that is already the conversation. And what the good Reverend asked, the youth, the drugs and a lot of delinquency that you find in the school are linked. That is what has already been established. So what we have said, a lot of people are going to lose business. And in any case, a business that destroys a generation is a criminal enterprise. It doesn't matter what money you make out of it. So the government is going to go heavy on that. The issue of youth is at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, but education now is domiciled elsewhere. What you have said is a concern to all of us and parents. Because right now, a lot of parents are very careful to send their children to affluent schools. Because what is destroying us is money. Where children of affluent families are given a lot of money, and they come and corrupt the others. This thing is having a spiraling effect. And I think there is already a conversation in the Ministry of Education that some of the schools, they have been told if they don't put their acts together, some of the schools should be closed. And then the media guys. The problem with what we are experiencing, our youngsters are not listening to us. They are in the sitting room, but they are talking to some dark forces out there. Because parents want to make their children happy. You buy them a smartphone. Then you give them money for bundles. Of course, they are going to go to on the international superhighway. Children as young as 7, 8, they're able to access porn because the bundles is enough to access those sites. So this is something that requires the church, the imams in the mosque, and the communities and the families. Myself and I think Honorable Fred and Honorable Mburu, we sit on the Committee of National Security, where Nakada comes under our watch. And one of the things that we have discovered, and they are able to explain to us in detail, blow by blow, the weakening of the family structure is what is creating all this problem. And I think what the church should not fear to tell their congregation is the importance of the family. Because if the family is not strong, you cannot make nations strong. Because the family is the smallest building block in any society. So that one, I will leave it at that. But there's already a conversation on the issue of youth and on that issue of illicit group and drugs and all that combined. So already, what I have already said, what the Deputy President has been given that mandate to call leaders of region, the government machinery, to be able to clamp down on that. So that there are those who have bus and they are maybe leaders. If your bus is closed, then you shouldn't blame anyone. If there's a chief in his area, that is where most of that brewing or that alcohol is consumed, is sacked, then nobody should raise a finger. So it's going to be a very big issue in Kenya going forward. It started last Friday. Thank you, Moses Mwangi. I think, Moses, where are you? You are gone? Oh yeah, Moses, you are there. I think that is really what is happening now, particularly in the area of Kenya Meat Commission, because as you are already aware, Kenya Meat Commission is under the military. There was a move to take it from the military, but it has been proved that Kenya Meat Commission became a moribund institution almost 20, 30 years ago. But after the military was given, they kicked some life into it. The government invested in it. That in 72 hours, when you take your livestock for slaughter to KMC, you are paid. And before you are paid after 1 year, or your money just goes down the drain. So it's a positive thing. The other issue is about Kenya prisons. I think it's something that we can suggest to the general who is in charge, that they can try to be on Amazon so that they can sell their products globally. Then Tony, I think what Tony raised, and you basically raised the same issue about the place of media. the place of communication. What we saw in the recent days, I think a year or 2 years, the story of Kenya is told in the social media, as opposed to government spokesman coming forward and giving the story that this is what is happening, it is true, this has not happened, that so this, the government is acting on this issue. I think that is a serious missing link where the government is trying to put its acts together. The other issue is on talent, which is largely domiciled in the Ministry of Youth as opposed to education, and also under the presidency. The issue of budget is important. And you know, nobody will sit around and tell you, how much money do you need? It doesn't happen. You must ask for the money. As youth, as media, you say, hey, you guys, we have this and that. Once the proposal comes to Parliament, that actually gives the money, people will debate and say, is this real? If we put the money here, how many people or what is it likely to support? That comprehensive engagement is what can allow that to happen. Just for information, we used to think that the Moi regime was the weakest. But you know, a lot of thriving in the Kenyan sports was during Moi's time. The athletes, the boxing, yeah, many sports thrived a lot. Because I think the government of that time had people who had interest in those things. But I think under Kibaki, the economy grew, many things went well for us, but we also left some of those areas. So with that, I think these are some of the issues we can recommend in our report. Then NGOs, I think they talk about NGOs. The NGO board comes under the Committee of National Security. Because whereas NGOs are non-governmental, but a lot of things they do is interlaced with what the government of the day does in terms of its function. Some of the issues are controlled, some of the issues are controversial, but what is important, and that I must say, the NGOs are part and parcel of every administration because they do what government is not able to do, or they reach corners that the government is not able to reach. But I think it is important that if anyone has an intention of opening an NGO or doing things through NGO, then they must use the right channel, which is the NGO board. The NGO board comes under our committee. In case there are issues, then we can always exchange emails and say, hey, here it is not going right. What can we do? On the issue of arriving at the Kenyan airport, I've been in government. You know, sometimes individual action will almost be considered to be a government action. A custom officer will tell you, open these boxes. You know, if you have been in America for 5 years and you have never gone back, you will carry 5 suitcases. Your youngest will be now almost as tall as myself. So the custom officer looks at you and say, yeah, na pesa yote. Na amebeba vitu mingi. So the clever thing to do, which I want to advise you from experience, if there are many items you want to send to Kenya, just ship it. Even there, you'll pay minimum, just the air freight. And there'll be no duty, particularly in clothes that are normally the normal wear. But if you are going to carry expensive machine, like electronics, that somebody looks at it and say, oh, she's carrying 10 cameras, 5 of this, 5 of that. Then whether the intention is good or otherwise, it is considered that this is going for business. And one has to be very careful. Then Tony also asked about benevolence fund. In the last parliament, we visited different countries. Then one time we visited Moscow. Then we had our students who are stranded there. They finished their course. The embassy had just about 5 staff. There was no ambassador. There was just an acting first counselor. So they told us these 2 youngsters cannot go back home because they don't have money. So I think Moses Kirima and I, we were about 7 of us. You know, we were the ones who contributed to send those youngsters home. We paid the air ticket. So this is when we came back to Kenya. We recommended that embassies should hold some little amount of money just in case there is such an emergency. I think people are yet to agree because ni ile culture yetu kila mtu anafikiri pesa ikiwekwa watu watakula. But we found the need for it. You cannot always tell people in diaspora contribute. Sometimes the person who is being contributed for, ni mtu hata can't be somebody just says, yeah, this one is a Kenyan. So I think it is still in works, but we already, as Parliament, we already identified the need for that. Then Gary asked about, let us say, giving your president as head of state commendation. That is very simple. Among yourself, you have very educated group. Write for him a citation, get it to the ambassador, na yeye akituma Kenya atapata hiyo head of state commendation. As simple as that. As simple as that. He cannot be given another one, just that. But which is very important, that he's doing a significant community work. That is where somebody gets head of state commendation. Jerry Wamai? Oh, Jerry Wamai na pesa mingi. And then our youngster from Kericho. Basically, they ask the same question. What the government is working on is to establish a diaspora bond. And I think it will be communicated to you. So that badala ya kutuma pesa kwa dada yako, ndugu yako, shemeji yako na inapotea, you put your money in diaspora bond. And that will save you money, increase your capitation, but at the same time, allow the government, instead of having bilateral and other multilateral borrowing, they can borrow from their own citizen. I think that is already, there's already something in works on that. I think the issue of honorary consular, I think is things that we are looking at, but also looking at having consulars deployed in places that have big population, where they are doing big things, the economy is good. We say, okay, instead of giving them honorary consular, get somebody from that community in that area to actually be the consular. That allows you to be employed, you to be recognized, that person to be identified. So in our recommendation, we are going to put down that, so that Big Ted has enough jurisdiction already. Let us have another jurisdiction here and elsewhere. Now, there are also political questions that have been asked. And in these political questions, I want to say as follows. You know, if you look at Kenya today, and if we go back to 1992, when we started this multipartism, it is just two different worlds. It is like day and night. And in the recent election, what I said is that as Kenya, we broke new grounds, because we have never had that level of observers externally to our election. And more than that, the problem with our election is not at the governor, senator, member of parliament, MCA, women rep. The problem of our election is at the presidency. Because if elections are bad, then we should not be sitting here. We should not be sitting here. So everybody says, election ya MCA, hiyo ilienda mzuri. Ile ya member of parliament, hiyo ilienda mzuri. Alafu watu wanasema, lakini na hii ya president, imeenda namna gani? So, what we are saying, putting aside my political heart and my party loyalty and all that, is that the loser must accept the defeat, or else we will be having problems every election endlessly. Somebody said about, the pastor said about handshake. What we are saying, there's no problem with handshake. We are saying there's no problem with handshake. But the problem is to have a government of Nusumkate. So why go for elections? Si tungekaa chini ya miti tu kama wazee, alafu tugawanye viti, tuseme wewe uwe president na wewe uwe kitu ingine. So long as you are in competitive election, then at the end of the day, you must be prepared to accept the verdict. Nafikiri sisi wote ni wa Kenya. Ile election ya juzi ilienda hivi. Watu walikuwa wanasema systems na deep state iko kwa fulani. Hata wenzetu kwa bunge watu walikuwa wanaambiana, wewe utapoteza kiti, nyinyi mtakuwa opposition, nyinyi mtakuwa serikali. Hiyo argument ilikuwa inaendelea. But you know, wale ambaye walikuwa kwa uongozi wakati huo, walikuwa pia wamefikiri akina fulani na fulani ndio watakuwa rais vitu vingine. Lakini in the end haikufanyika hivyo. So somebody said, what is it? What is wrong with our election system? There's absolutely nothing wrong. I am a third-term member of parliament. My election has never been contested. Mimi nilikuwa kwa jeshi, nikatoa uniform siku moja, nikadecide, nikasema, wacha niingie siasa. Yule jamani nilimwangusha wakati ile, alikuwa assistant minister. Mwanajeshi tu anatoka kwa kichaka anaangusha assistant minister. Assistant minister hakuwa na complain. Sababu raia walikuwa wamedecide. So sisi lazima kama Wakenya, lazima tuanze kutoa hiyo mawazo, fulani lazima ashinde ili Kenya iwe salama. Ama fulani ndio aliandikiwa. So hizi watu wanasema, Kenya iko shida. Kenya hakuna shida. Shida ya Kenya ni moja tu. Watu watafanya maandamano, waende wavunje duka ya mtu, basi polisi watapiga watu. But kama ni ile tunaona kama hii nchi, watu wanafanya peaceful demonstration. No, but wewe unasema hakuna kuenda kazi, hakuna kufanya hivi, hakuna kufungua duka. So that confrontation is what everybody is saying, yes, is this healthy? It is not. Tusiende mbali, hii nchi. Na tusengenye watu. Si yule alishindwa alikata kupeana watamu ya uongozi. Si alikata? Because the systems in place is seamless. Hata akikataa system inaendelea tu. Mpaka inafagia nje. So hata sisi eventually, that is where we are heading. That is where we are heading. In terms of the stability of the country, Kenya is very stable. Look at Sudan. Look at Sudan. That the Sudan Air Force inatumika kupiga raia wake. Kupiga raia wake. And I want to tell you for free, hakuna siku tutafika hapo. Ama hata kusema wale wanatusumbua ni Wakamba, ama wale wanatusumbua ni Wakikuyu, ama wale wanatusumbua ni Wasomali. Hatutafika hiyo level. Kama iko watu wanasumbua, basi wanaonekana ni watu fulani, so that tusigawanye nchi on tribal, ethnic and communal lines. Somebody asked about, thank you very much, about wives of soldiers. If there are specific cases, I've been a soldier, so I know how the Kenya Defense Forces work. It has a very seamless and organized way of helping those families. But if there are specific cases that you know, please share with me. I'll give you my card so that we take up with KDF. Then Chief ameuliza that there are many people who are employed. Then they said maneno ya cars. You know, every government in the world is a political government. There's no government that is formed to address any other thing. A government addresses the political issues and the issues of concern to the people. If they think that the way to solve problem X, if we get to power, is to have 2 permanent secretaries, they are going to do that. But more importantly, other than employment, what we as Kenyans must ask ourselves, are we baking enough cake to go around? Are Kenyans baking enough cake? So the psyche of sharing lazima iwe overtaken production. Because the more we produce, the more we can share. The population ya Washington ni ngapi? 7 or 8 million. Population ya Kenya ni ngapi? Yeah, about 57 million. Huh? Yeah, about 50 million. So, look at that in terms of how are you going to empower your people and also making sure different communities are in this government. Ile kitu inatusumbua ambaye sitaki kuwaficha ni ile face of Kenya. When any appointment comes, even my colleagues can attest to that in Parliament. Names come, then an MP will stand up and says, yeah, the people on this list are really good. I can attest to that. But it's not reflective of everybody. Then anaambiwa, okay, una oppose ama nini? No, I don't want to oppose. But I'm saying, does this reflect the face of Kenya? Kama nafasi ni 4, Kenya tuko na kabila sasa 45. So ita reflect namna gani? So sometimes you say, let the best be forward there. So long as they deliver for Kenya and Kenyans at that moment in time. So that is what government after government will be grappling with. Not just this one. After all, baada ya miaka 5 tunaenda kura, serikali ingine inaweza kuja. Bado hiyo sarakazi inaendelea. I didn't hear anyone asking Mburu kwa nini diaspora muko kwa CDF yake. Macharia Magura. Where's Macharia? I think your question is really specific, and you need to sit with Big Ted here. So long as you are not doing business, the virtue of having a PIN does not cause any alarm to you. But in case there is something technical or an issue, you talk to him, alafu atafute what is causing that. Mburu Kamau? Mburu ametoka? Oh yeah, Mburu, I think your issue is what we will take up. That you have a US driving license, you are a driver, you have been tested, and everything you are qualified. So we want to something which is called reciprocity, that when you go to Kenya, it should be identified. I don't know if it has changed, because in the UK, when I was there, I used to drive with the Kenyan driving license, because they used to recognize that. So we will put that in the report, so that we pursue it to the farthest end, so that hata to force hawa kubali yetu, so long as it is authentic, na hata ile ingine. Lakini hawa watu walitaka kitu kidogo, sababu umetoka Amerika. Dave ako wapi? Dave yule aliuliza swali ya siasa. Iko Dave na John Njuguna. Oh, Chief. Yeah, I think ile kitu John Njuguna na Dave waliuliza, they are almost the same. So, ongea maneno ya wage bill. What is it relative to? We are saying that to serve, let us say, our community in Seattle, we need to have a consular. So, while it will increase the wage bill by 1 shilling, but at the same time, it is driven by need. So what you should be looking at is the money that is remitted by that diaspora. Will it commensurate with having 1 consular and 2 staff? then unasema yes, I think it is effective. It is worth our money. So which bill is relative. What is it that you are doing? You have been a chief. Maybe ulikuwa senior chief. At one point, you must have recommended area fulani population imeongezeka. Nataka assistant chief. Or an extra sublocation. Then the question you ask, imeongeza wage bill, but it is driven by necessity. So we have to be that balance. We have to look at both the two sides of the coin. On the issue of ya MPs, kuruka kutoka upande hii kwenda upande hiyo ingine. It happens all over the world. It's not unique to Kenya. When the grass is green on the other side, utaruka. Because utakuwa na access to the other people, to the president, to the deputy. Unataka kutafuta shule, upewe maji mahali fulani, ile hospitali haikuisha. The reason why pengine hamuoni hiyo shida kwa hii nchi, MPs kazi yao kubwa ni legislation. Kazi kubwa. But yetu ni MP ni ATM. He must bring something. Lazima alete barabara, alete hospitali, alete new 2 sublocation, matanga, daktari aliuliza maneno ya shule. Whereas hii pesa ya overseas ni mingi, ya watoto wale wanaenda nje, siwezi kusema na nguvu that CDF can sponsor. But at the local level, a lot of underprivileged youngsters in Kenya today, they go to school because of CDF. And CDF has done wonders. It's the only fund that builds schools, that sends the youngsters to secondary and university and colleges, to TVET, to Polytechnic. It is so basically across the board. That is why when MPs were told CDF is going, the MPs were up in arms saying, okay, if you take away CDF, then we will not pass budget. Because it's money that you can touch, and it goes to the right places and touches hearts and hands of the most underprivileged in our communities. Somebody asked about borrowing. Hakuna serikali haitaomba pesa. Hata wewe unaomba. Kwanza nyinyi nasikia nyinyi wale mko Ulaya mnaomba sana. Na mnatushinda sababu mnakwanga na kadi nyingine inaitwa nini? Credit card. Credit card. So that anytime ukienda McDonald's uwezi kuwa turn back. So the principal question that person asked, John Njuguna. John, uko wapi? Yes, the principal question you asked, which is very important, is we have said, as members of parliament, our government should never borrow to pay recurrent expenditure. kulipa mshahara, sijui kulipa nani, we are just going to borrow for development, so that that money will be of value. Lakini once you are for current expenditure, kulipa pending bills and all those funny things, then of course that will be money down the drain. It is really important, and Parliament is seized of that particular issue. Then on corruption. Now, the issue of corruption, which you have raised, is of concern. And everybody is asking, how do we tackle it? How do we tackle it? Because it takes two to tango. Kama yule hatalipa, yule ambaye ako kwa ofisi atachukua. Sababu hakuna kitu atachukua. So that is what we have said. Everything that involves money transaction, let it be on e-citizen. And I like what Teddy said. Right now, as we're talking, 5,370 services are on e-citizen. Out of projected, I think about 7,000 to 8,000. So with time, what we are saying, put everything on e-citizen so that you don't go and claim for your money in the office. Nobody should pay you in cash. That your money should arrive in your account after you have provided services to government. Until and when we reach that threshold to remove the human interface, then your corruption kidogo hakuna mali itapotea. Policeman atakusimamisha, akwambia hii tires yako imeisha. Sasa hiyo una pesa ya kwenda kuweka tire mpya. Alafu anakuambia kama our brother there anakuambia enda Gigiri police station. Sasa hiyo Gigiri hujui ni wapi. Umechoma mafuta, ulikuwa unaenda kwa in-laws yako, ulichinja mbuzi asubuhi, unashika mfuko, unasema wacha nikupatie hii. But if I look at the history of nations, sababu nyinyi mko Ulaya, nataka uende kwa Google, angalia hii nchi 1920, alafu UK and then Europe. Tumesoma history ya hizi development sana. Sana. Mtu hawezi kuamka tu asubuhi moja ajifunze kitu. Anajifunza kutoka kwa mtu mwingine. Pauline, thank you so much for your question. I think that is one area that the Ministry of Health is already working on. Because the difference between we in Kenya and yourselves is you have too many jobs, few people do it. We have too many people with too few jobs. Right now in Kenya, we have about 30 universities. These 30 universities are churning out close to 16,000 young graduates every year. We have medical training colleges in almost 30 of our 47 counties, churning out young nurses, young clinical officers, medics of different categories every year in thousands. But it must be linked to the job market. And that is why we are saying diaspora is not just about remittance, but it's also about linking us into the outside world that is not visible to us when we sit. Kwa hivyo asante sana kwa hiyo. David Njuguna Nganga. David ako? Yeah, sawa. Chief, nafikiri tumejibu swali yako. Agatha ako? Tafadhali endelea kupika hiyo githeri. Usifanye hiyo ile kazi unafanya tu. Uwe unafanya hiyo sio. You know, askari ndio wale askari wameenda vita ndio wako na ile war stories. Alafu wanasema atuyo jamaa nani, alafu wakasema huyu ni messenger, ni runner. Kazi yake ni kupeleka messages kutoka headquarter hii mpaka ingine. And then siku moja hiyo runner hakufika wakati ile inatakiwa. Kumbe kulikuwa na raid na kagongwa. Then watu wakauliza wazungu wanatumia lugha mbaya wakati vitu vimeharibika. Where is this bloody sijui nini alafu kijana mwenzake akasema ni kama alipigwa na ile ndege ya leo. Akasema so kwa hivyo leo hakuna mails. So mpaka hiyo watu wakumiss uwe unawapatia hiyo githeri. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Very good. Okay. Sawa. Then we'll exchange emails. Watasupply nyinyi bila kupoteza wakati. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Process. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. 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 Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think we don't have that information as much, but we'll put it down and then we'll pursue it with Honorable Moses Kuria. He was our colleague, so we know we'll get him. Asante. Alex, I think the issue of security, we were told even in Minneapolis, the killing of 2 persons in Kisii, a man and his wife. We are not aware of the one you said about abduction. Yeah. So I think we'll note it down and then try to follow up with DI so that we can communicate with him to tell him that this is the progress. Because the DCI comes under our committee in terms of oversight. Somebody asked about Kenya Bureau of Standards. A lady? Oh, yeah. The issue of KEBS, which comes under Ministry of Trade, it is not just you. I think many people have raised that concern. If it is a standard, it has to be one. You cannot have standard this for this group, standard that. And I think a bit of it is just about fleecing people who do not have the means or the network to penetrate that cartel. But also, because I'm sure you have a specific thing in mind, then you must share with us that specific detail. Somebody said about sending money to Kenya. Because of current demonstration, something like that. Ninani? Oh. You know, when you are sending that money, you have a purpose to why you are sending it. The two wrongs will never make a right. Maybe you have relatives in hospital, a relative constructing a house for you, and whatever demonstration that has been going on, kwa runinga, na munaona ziko wapi? Demonstration haiko Kenya mzima. Iko mahali fulani, ambaye sina sababu ya kusema. Hata hiyo Nairobi, sababu sisi wakati wanasema iko demonstration, bado tunaenda ofisi na tunaenda kufanya kazi yetu. Hata hiyo Nairobi demonstration iko mahali fulani. So tusijaribu kuunganisha vitu ambaye ni tofauti kabisa. Na inike zile pesa tumwa huko, haingii mfuko ya Mburu Kangara, ama William Ruto, ama nani. Hiyo pesa inaenda kwa sababu yake. Na hakuna vile itashikwa kwa hewa, mechanical demonstration, sasa leo rudisha hiyo pesa. So as much as possible, what I really want to ask and pray our diaspora, let us be informed. Sometimes call Big Ted na muambie, iko hii kitu tunasikia. What is it? Because today is that this thing inaitwa fake news. or bloggers are just going to load a lot of information. Somebody was saying the president's financial advisor imefilisika. Kama nchi imefilisika, sisi sote tungekuwa tumetoroka. So iko vitu ukiona kwa runinga na inakuconcern, unauliza. Lakini kufikiria tu sitatuma pesa nyumbani ya sababu iko demonstration kesho. What happens kama demonstration itakuwa holier? If you have lived in UK, there's a group that started demonstration wakati ya Margaret Thatcher. They were demonstrating about coal fields. Hii mahali ya makaa. You know, those guys, they demonstrated mpaka Margaret Thatcher aliacha kiti. Then there is a group that was demonstrating about nuclear. And they started in the 80s. You know, they demonstrated mpaka wakaachana, walikuwa wanajifunga kwa miti, nini. Then finally, walibaki kama mama 6-7. Mpaka during heavy winter, wanaletewa chakula na mahema na serikali. Na wanaendelea kudemonstrate. So, but as a country, we don't see any problem with demonstrations, constitutional right, picketing. As Kenyan legislators, we believe in democracy and the rule of law and constitutionalism. Lakini ile moja tu hatutakubali ni watu kwenda kuvunja ama kupata nafasi kuvunja maduka na biashara ya watu. Then on the press, I think hiyo communicate kwake. At least sasa hata kama ni siku moja aende ele kutoka hapo akuje hapa so that kila mtu I feel that yeah, we were with the president today. So afanye kazi ya serikali, afanye tu pia kazi ya wananchi. Okay. David Mburu, I think you raised the issue of the passport. I think we are going to task the PS who is in charge of that docket so that if we can't fast track the issue of consulate, then we can increase the number of outreach ile inaweza kuja. Badala every quarter in a year wawe wanakuja after every 3 months. Mpaka hiyo backlog ishe. Then iko Peter Kimeu. When was the last time you were in Makueni, by the way, Peter? Where are you? When was the last time you were in Makueni? More than 5 years. Makueni today produces the best mangoes, oranges, maybe if you go to Makueni on your next trip, you may get lost. So it is about some of the success stories of the revolution in Kenya, where a lot of things have changed. But the issue of Rail-fed agriculture is, I think, our major hindrance to producing enough food for our people. So already there is a plan in place to build about 100 dams that will not hold less than 5 million cubic liters of water, so that at least watu waweze kuwa wananyunyuzia shamba maji. I think we'll see rolling out of that once we do the budget in June. So already the government is planning for that, but it is an important thing. Dr. Njuguna, Dr. Njuguna, yes, Dr. Njuguna said that the diaspora feel neglected. I think it's not really about neglect, but is that question of the father having 5 sons or 5 daughters. Moja ako wapi, mwingine ako wapi, mwingine ako wapi. Alafu kila wakati anasema, lakini na hii Wamboi bwana yake hata treat yeye mzuri. Hata ile ng'ombe yake moja, unajua juzi ilikufa. So he knows that in Njuguna, wherever he is, some challenges that is not like Wamboi. So it is really not about neglecting, but it is focus and also understanding. But going forward, what I appreciate with this government, and I think future governments now, the signature of diaspora is visible now. Yeah, because even in parliament, when people are debating, mtu atasema vitu viwili alafu anasema diaspora. The government, the same thing. The cabinet, the same thing. So it is about it now becoming prominent. Ili kufichika ama kutokuwa discussed, ianze kufifia. Nafikiri maneno ya changing your number. They change your number. Some of us, we have had the same number, I think, since 2001. And nafikiri William Ruto has never changed his number. Hawa waheshimiwa watajua, because they text him, they call him, atajibu wengine, siku moja hata kujibu, you keep on trying, but the number is the same. But the only difference now, immediately somebody goes into an office, then the workload is that thing which dictates how you are going to respond to issues. Kama ni emergency, uta respond immediately. Kama ni kawaida, you take time. But I think the best thing to engage politicians, and that one I can tell you for free. Ukipiga simu unatuma message, sio moja, mbili, tatu. Mtu ataangalia, Njuguna ameni message mingi gani. And people will always respond. Nani anasema ametoka kwa constituency ya Kimani Ichung'wah, Kikuyu? Kimani Ichung'wah hamtampata. Kimani Ichung'wah is the leader of majority. So he runs government business in that house. Hata yangu nitamletea, Kapondi ataletea yake, Njoki atamletea nini. Kufikia wewe hiyo kiu iko mbali sana. Lakini ingine sio kwa ubaya. But the best thing is make sure you get all of them on WhatsApp ama kwa message ya kawaida. And all the time, when you write to the politicians, your messages, make sure you indicate your name. Sababu muli exchange number, pengine simu ilipotea save na yako, but mtu anakuambia, I have been trying to call you several times and you are not picking my calls. You forgot us after you were elected. Then utamwandikia message tu, unamuuliza, who are you? Then anasema, I am so. Because ukiwa Kenya, hata watu ya kamiti huwa wako na numbers ya MPs. Mtu anakutumia kutoka kamiti anasema, I am stranded. Uko wapi? Niko kwa station. So nitumie tu 500 nifike nyumbani. Then for you only to send that money, baadaye unampigia. Simu hakuna. Ni mtu wako kamiti. Yeah. Eunice, thank you very much. Where are you? Eunice Ingare? I think I really want to say something about the Ministry of Lands. What I want to advise you, my brothers and sisters, unless you are using a family member back home to do something for you, all the time, make sure you use lawyers to do things for you on your behalf. And not lawyers who are your friends. Lawyers with established firm. You know that even if something gets lost, you know how to track it, so that your money and everything is going to be safe. You know, sometimes you can have lawyers who are your friends, alafu wapoteze vitu yako, and then you don't know where to start. But when you use a lawyer, you will incur a bit of fee, but you know that hiyo kitu yako itaenda mahali fulani. You can call me up, say, Mheshimiwa Raso, are you in Nairobi? Ebu uende hapo Kamwinwa advocate niangalie kitu fulani imenisumbua. Or Mr. Kimani is in Nairobi. Mheshimiwa, iko lawyers yangu ambaye wamenisumbua kuja peke hiyo ofisi. So that you have that track to check your things. I want to finish because I think I've covered ground as much as I can. My colleagues, anybody do anything? There was this Israeli man, he's a Jew. Then he was advising his son. The son is a small boy. So walikuwa na hii nyumba ya makuti. Akamwambia, my son, don't trust anyone other than yourself. So mtoto akamwangalia baba yake, akamwambia, Dad, even you? Akamwambia, yes, even me. Sasa mtoto wakaendelea. So siku moja sasa, yeye walikuwa wanaezeka hiyo nyumba makuti. So yeye akapanda, mtoto pia akapanda na ile ngazi. Then yake wakati alimaliza whatever he was doing, akashuka na akaenda na ngazi. And then akamwambia kijana, akiangalia ngazi hakuna. Akasema, "Dad, where's the ladder?" Akamwambia, I will hold you. Basi kijana akakuja kwa edge. Then akaangalia chini, akasema, "Jump, I am holding you." Kashika mkono hivi. But that distance ilikuwa kidogo. So kama nimeruka katoka. Kijana akaanguka. So wakati ameanguka akalia. Sema, "Dad, but you told me you are holding me." Kamwambia, "But I told you, never trust anyone. Even your dad." So wakati nafanya hiyo, that hard and sweat, you spent sleepless night, you made long journeys, alafu mwingine anakaa huko nyumbani, kazi yake ni kula pesa yako kama papa, you shouldn't do it. If we are going to solve a lot of our issues, so that wewe unachukua 2 months leave, ama 1 month, ama even 15 days, na unakuta nyumba inauzwa, imejengwa, you buy cash, unaingia ndege yako, unarudi. To cover the ground, some of the questions you asked, we have to follow them up, and we'll put them in our report. Others I have attempted to explain as much as I can. I want to really thank you for your time and questions. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much. Kwa haraka nite waheshimiwa wetu wakuja hapa mbele. Waheshimiwa, chairman pia utanijoin hapa mbele kidogo. Maybe we leave the books. Jeff, nilete hiyo keki. Na usivunje vase vile nimevunja nyingine. The table. Let me hold the vase, please. Jerry, toka kwa buffet ukuje huku ndani. Tusonge hapa kwa bendera hapa. Kuja hapa kwa. To balance. Pauline, ingia hapa kwa hii picha. So kata keki, I think it's just symbolic, a symbolic cake. Kwa anti wa cake. Sema imejengwa na
Thank you. It's nitakuwa anti wa keki. Umelala kweli? Muko. Oh, unajua labda tulianza na roho tukamaliza na mwili. Okay. Sawa sawa. Thank you very much. Pauline, for the cake. And in honor of all of us and in the respect of our country, Kenya. And to our cake is running Kenya. How many colors? 3. Ish. Atinija, okay. Colors. Of course, we know white is for peace. We know the red color red is for the blood that was shed. Green is the vegetation. And the black is the color of Kenya, the color of Africa. And we need the content of this mahali iko, si ndio? Kwamba utafute chumvi ujui mahali iko, because it has been mixed and mixed. Kenya is in diaspora. We need to solidify ourselves like this cake. Unity. Hakuna Kalenjin, hakuna Mjaluo, hakuna Mwembu, hakuna Muturkana, hakuna Woria hapa. This is Kenya. Kwa hivyo, it's Kenyans for Kenyans. Tukae pamoja kwa ustadi na upendo. So that when we are here in diaspora and back at home, we are Kenyans as one. That is my parting shot. Thank you. Kwa hiyo tuendelea na mwenye keki kukatisha keki na tukiimbia keki. Keki ipewa ni tu ovyo ovyo kimalamala. Ndio. Hapana. Kata, kata. Yes, Kenya, Kenya taifa letu, Kenya, Kenya, Kenya nchi yetu. Kona bawana Kenya, Kenya, Kenya taifa letu, Kenya, Kenya, Kenya nchi yetu. Kenya taifa letu, Kenya, Kenya, Kenya nchi yetu. Pigiwe makofi lakini sio. Keki. Hata keki ni tamu sana. Hii ni keki sio ugali. Keki sio mokimo. Kata keki. Kata keki. Kata keki. Kuna Wakikuyu wangapi hapa sasa? Nataka kuwa mkabila Wakikuyu. Wakikuyu. Tuimbe wimbo. Wakikuyu niwaonyeshe kawimbo. Muko. Oh. Kana nikega. Kana nikega gatuma ndiora ithioro. Kana nikega nikamenyererwe gaka ka diaspora. Kana nikega kana aya nage kiteno mwamionire na kiteno mwamionire tigane kemani.
Keki teno mwamionire, keki teno
Let's just come here so that isikae ni ya waheshimiwa, hii ni yetu kila mtu, si ndio?